Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Early Booking Podcast. We got a lot of things on the agenda to go over today with the January transfer window wrapping up, so let's get right into it. We got Harry and Parker here, two of the biggest Liverpool fans I know. What's your thoughts on things happening around the transfer window? What's going on?
I'll let you go first.
All right. Well, I have many opinions here, and I've been very eager to voice them. So I think to get started, we can talk Luis Diaz and how he's the long-term Sadio Mane replacement. And we have Jota, who's the obvious Firmino replacement. So, I think the priority for the club right now to re-sign Salah and then, phase Diaz in, sell Mane. Maybe we'll get 50 mil, 60 mil. I know Madrid was talking 100 mil a few years ago, but now he's on the wrong side of 30. And Firmino, I don't know what's up with him. Like, will he go on the free? Is he going to take a new position up? But I think if I were to rate our transfer window, I would say a solid B+. We didn't really let anyone go. We had some great loans, Nico Williams to Fulham. I would have loved to bring in Fabio Carvalho to Liverpool, and I really apologize for butchering that name. But I think, what we really should spend some time on is Arsenal and Tottenham's transfer doings. Mainly Arsenal. I heard a lot of talk this window from Graham, texts every day talking about the players they were going to bring in, but when I look at the Guardian article that shows the incomings and outgoings, I only see outgoings, including
a lot of inactivity there,
including the captain on a free. I mean, you don't see that often. But no, Graham, we'd love to hear about your opinion on the transfer doings at Arsenal.
So technically we're paying $8 million for Aubameyang's transfer, so not necessarily too free on our part.
Oh, so you're paying.
You paid to get rid of it.
That is the saddest shit I've heard all day.
Yeah. Pretty fucking depressing, However, we signed 2 Americans, so we're moving in the right direction, if you ask me. But we'll look towards the summer to see what happens. But in the meantime, we're gonna kick Wolves' ass on Thursday, and that's pretty much it. Yeah.
I do love that Martinelli will finally get to lead the line there.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a wonder kid. It's great that he'll finally get the minutes he needs. And like, what's up with Laka though? Is Lacazette still like in the club? Is he part of the team now, or do you think he's phased? Like, doesn't his contract expire this summer?
His contract expires this summer. It doesn't look as though he'll sign an extension, but we have to offer him. He's put on some great performances, if you ask me. I don't really understand the Lacazette banter. Yes, he hasn't scored many goals this season, but his link-up play is unbelievable.
Is he a striker?
He's an Arsenal striker through and through, if you ask me. And yeah, it wouldn't be an idea to start Martinelli up top. But he can also play on the left flank as well. So whether they have Laka up top or Martinelli, I don't really care myself.
I'd say Saka's the best player on that Arsenal team at the moment.
Saka's definitely the best player on that Arsenal team at the moment. However,
Can we move away from this banter North London club of Arsenal for a second?
Right.
Get into
Actually, I want to bring
all right,
up
take off that jersey, you fucking
he's a great
banter
player
club.
at setting the tone for Arsenal. Someone who can really make an impact on the game.
We're talking about Saka here?
No, we're talking about Xhaka.
We're talking about Xhaka, a man willing to go and get 2 yellows within the first half.
First of all, Bryce, your manager would take Xhaka in the starting lineup. Parker, your manager probably would
I'd agree
too.
to that.
And the thing is, he's just a liability in that department. That is true, yes. And he can be a bit of a knobhead at times. However, you can't deny the fact that Granit Xhaka is a great player.
I think he plays with a lot of heart. I think he just gets stuck in and makes some of the dumbest errors I've ever seen. He has more red cards than any player I know of in recent history, in fact.
I'd love to see his red cards per 90 minutes.
In terms of getting an early booking, he is our fucking hero, let's be honest.
He rocks the motto of this podcast well. He does set the tone.
On Thursday.
But what I was about to say is, let's move into a club with another identity crisis, Chelsea right now. You got a lot of players and, looking to move Werner, looking to move Lukaku at times. Didn't see a lot of activity on the transfer window. So what's your thoughts here? Where do you think this season's leading right now with how the identity crisis is going? You don't know what football you're playing. You have too many players getting subbed in, different lineups ran every weekend. What's up with that?
Too many mouths.
Right now, we're in a bit of a crisis, but we lost Ben Chilwell for the season, so our
Oh yeah, he was a difference maker.
Spot, oh, definitely. His passing, his presence on the pitch is great. I was hoping to get Serginho Dest from Barca. We could have seen some over the tops to Pulisic, get the American connection going a bit.
How do you think the attack shapes up here?
As far as this season, I don't think this is a season that we necessarily need to win the Prem. We just got a miracle champions.
What were you saying at the beginning of the season?
Exactly.
At the beginning of the season, we were saying that, but I mean,
how much money
on a good job, and there's nothing wrong with being patient. We did overpay for our strikers, but
let's be honest, the oil machine City is putting in a performance.
Yeah, for
week in, week out.
Yeah, City looks great.
But when you look at the investment that Chelsea had on top of winning the UCL, I don't know. The expectations were through the roof, and now they're saying top 4 is all we were looking for all season. They sound like Arsenal, and Arsenal are a mid-table club.
They sound like Arsenal and Tottenham.
We're going above and beyond here. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
The season is a bit of a disappointment as a whole. I mean, we had big aspirations going into it. Didn't play out exactly how we wanted to, but I think with Tuchel and the rest of the squad, we have a bright future. We definitely need a Conte replacement. I'm thinking Monaco may have it with can't think of his name. Frenchman. Cannot think of his name.
You need to
Tchouaméni. I like Tchouaméni.
Tchouaméni.
Be a nice sign.
See, he'll be at Liverpool next summer. But you guys can keep dreaming. But when I look at Chelsea, you know, I look at the lone army. I look at, you know, Conor Gallagher just putting in performances left and right at Norwich, and like I see players like that, and then I just wonder, you know, why are you going to spend 60, 70 mil on a player who's not proven? You know, Bakayoko 2.0 could be Tchouaméni. And I really hope he comes to Liverpool, but there's no guarantee there. And when you have someone who's playing week in, week out, great football in the Premier League for one of the biggest clubs, you know, why not give him an opportunity? But it's not going to happen because that's the Chelsea way.
I think I heard a lot of people advocating to bring Gallagher back in the January window. I don't know.
Can I bring this topic around to Tottenham, the other London club that we haven't spoken about yet?
Let's go ahead.
Let me get one more thing in because I feel like I got questioned on the midfield there a bit. I feel like Kovacic and Conte are doing a pretty decent job. Tchouaméni could come in. He wouldn't need to be rushed.
Why did you say you want a replacement for Conte?
No, exactly. It's like
you're not even gonna
in the NFL with Mahomes. He sat his first season.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah,
you're not gonna speak on Team of the Year midfielder Jorginho, pen master himself too. I haven't heard his name mentioned.
Yeah, Jorginho does his job. He's a good guy.
Yeah, I'm not knocking on Jorginho.
I didn't like him too much at first. He's all right.
He passes the ball into the back of the net better than anyone in the world.
That gets Emil Smith Rowe goals.
Oh no,
lots and lots of goals.
He's the regista.
Yes, sir.
He is. And when I think about, you know, Tottenham and their wrongdoings maybe in the window, you know, I look at years of transfer history. I looked at, you know, linked players, and everybody chooses another club over Tottenham. Very similar to Arsenal. You know, we have people choosing Newcastle over Arsenal these days. We have Luis Diaz choosing Liverpool over Tottenham. You know, I wonder, like, would you want to play for them with the lack of investment? You know, we've been hearing for 3 years now since the new stadium opened, we're going to spend. What have we seen? We've seen these great players brought in, you know, Ndombele, whatever, Dele Alli, and they're leaving on the free. They're leaving on loans. I thought like Lo Celso, I thought those were supposed to be game changers for the club, and that's what I've heard from you.
We've done 40 mil, right?
I will be the first to be willing to admit that
free transfer. Dele Alli was a free transfer.
I thought it was 40 mil, wasn't it?
We got him from MK Dons for, I believe he was on the free. Yes. Oh, we sold him. You're talking about the selling of him? Yeah, free. He went on the free. No, he was sold. He went on the free. Yeah.
So Bryce, I don't know. Where do we go from here?
I guess you're referring to Vlahovic, or his name from the Serie A, the striker. That's the only Luis Diaz too. You got 2 cases this transfer window of names we couldn't pull in. Okay.
You were trying to sign Vlahovic.
That's who I was also referring to. I think I get where you're coming from this. You're right. A lot of the times when there's a lot of rivalry teams coming in, it's hard for us to bring the allure. And I always, look to the new coach. When we had Jose, I really hope that the coach could pull. Now that we have Conte, I hope the coach can pull. And a lot of it is when they look at the club right now, there's a lot of weird things going on. There's a lot of these players. Tanguy and Ndombele came in for a record fee last year and literally was sat by four consecutive. 2 years ago, sorry. He came in 2 years ago. And for 4 coaches, he sat through and he rode the bench for everyone. It was an attitude problem. He was rumored to, be the next big thing. He was going to change our midfield. So now there's this kind of thing too. A lot of players coming in. We don't have a lot of star players a lot of the time. We have Son and Kane and a few others that I would say are maybe up there in the top level of not world class, but, solid players that should be in the Prem. And when you bring in new signings like that and you put so much pressure on them, I think we're looking for that next talisman at all times instead of just appreciating the signings we have. And a lot of people really look for, I think a lot of teams are like that. Chelsea did it this season. They looked to Lukaku and thought he was going to change things around, bring us the UCL. They brought the UCL last year. They're going to bring him the Prem. And you're looking at that. You put so much emphasis on your signing. And I think Tottenham does that too much. And a lot of people don't want
going to leave next season. He tried to really to get out in the summer.
I do not think he leaves. I think he loves playing under Conte again. I don't know if you see him after the games, the passion he shows walking to the fans when they win FA Cup fixtures, whatever it is. He actually enjoys being there again, which was something I couldn't say 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Kane, right?
Yeah.
I just think that if he left in the summer, he would have gone for such a high transfer fee that wouldn't even been bad.
I want to make the point, though, to your point, Parker. Tottenham has done a lot of bad business recently in the past. You're right. We've let a lot of players sit in our club and waste their value. Dele Alli, Kane, a lot of people we could have sold for the hundreds of millions. And we have this pseudo proudness of homegrown players and whatnot. And we do a lot of bad business, both buying and selling. We are so unwilling to sell when we can get the right price. And that really hurts us longevity wise.
I did see Kane. I did see Kane came out with a statement saying how much he loves playing for Conte recently. Yeah.
No, I agree with that, Bryce.
I think we need to break away from the top 6 though, and maybe turn our attention maybe towards Forrest over here. He's been a bit mute this podcast so far.
Maybe not we didn't talk about the incoming moves that Tottenham we had to talk about Bentancur and Kulusevski.
Oh, we did talk about Bentancur
a little bit.
Oh, if we
want
to
mention though. One thing I want to mention is what reminds me much of the Tottenham situation right now is what Liverpool was going through in 2009, 2010. When we're paying 25 mil for Stuart Downing.
Andy Carroll.
We're paying 35 mil for Andy Carroll, exactly.
It's part of the process.
We're paying 15 mil for Fabio Barini, a Sunderland superstar.
I don't know who that is.
Ex-Tottenham star Robbie
I know who Barini
when
is.
Ricky Lambert is getting playtime. But it's really, we were going through the phase where, and I think Levy struggles, like you said, he doesn't know when to sell. And when a price is met, you have to sell. Like Dele Alli, 100 mil. You'd have gotten 100 mil 2 years ago. A free transfer.
I have a question for you now, and I want your honest opinion on. I want everyone's. Do you think Tottenham has more of a culture of like loving specific individual players than wanting to be like a top tier club?
I think it's hard because I think they do. They struggle to let go.
Look at how unwilling we were to sell Kane. Son would never leave. We were trying to lock him down for years. I'm saying, like, when we have a folklore legend, Dele Alli was the greatest youngster in the Prem in the last 30 years. You can't change my mind on that. The output he was producing. And we get these players, and the fans love them so much. Lucas Moura, etc. It's players like this that do little things for the club that people get such love for, and the brass above them feel that from the fans, and I feel react accordingly.
Like recently, they've had to because they haven't been like challenging for any kind of title or cup. They've had to like latch themselves onto such like a club star.
You're 100%
right.
It's the only way to sell tickets.
But Bryce, if that were the case, why would they keep switching managers?
Because the players are unhappy, man. I don't know if you're seeing this. The players are the ones that are like really having the issues with the managers.
But see, when I look at Liverpool, for example, and I hate to keep comparing clubs, but Raheem Sterling, he won the Golden Boy Award, best young player in the world. We sold him, fucked off to City for 75 mil, and we've reinvested that money into the club. And that's the thing. It's hard to let go of what you have, but what you can bring in. But when you look at even Tottenham or Man United is a great example, mismanaging that money, misspending that money. It is a danger, but at the same time, every time you sell a player like that, it's a new opportunity. You sell one Sterling, you bring in, and I love to point to like Coutinho. We brought him in for 10 mil at Liverpool, sold him for the highest like a record transfer fee, world record. And look what he's up to now.
Tottenham
Like
have tried
he's
that,
a great player. Yeah.
Tottenham tried that with Gareth Bale when they sold him for, I don't know how much, I can't remember the fee, but like, it was like 85, 90 mil. But they just didn't bring in the same level of transfers that
I think this ties into Betancourt and Kulusevski, who Trey was trying to touch on, though. I think we actually did some good business for once. We got these players.
That's what I'm saying.
We didn't fork out the cash. We didn't buy them right up. We bought Betancourt.
Exactly.
Betancourt was a straight purchase. I just realized. I thought he was a loan. We got him for under 20 mil. While he's not a talisman, he's going to come in and he's going to put a shift in the midfield of what Conte's asking for. I would maybe compare him to a Gio Lo Celso who worked hard. He just lost his passion for the club at the end, and that's the reason he had to be moved on. Like,
I don't understand. Why are people grouping Tottenham and Arsenal in the same like transfer like
I think
failure classification?
we both went for
Tottenham. I'm like,
it's because they're both
damn.
top 6 clubs.
Yeah.
But yes,
No,
I think we brought
Arsenal did way worse than Tottenham in this window. I'm just saying. We signed 2 fucking Americans. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I would like to say I don't think Tottenham messed up. I was gonna dispute your point that you think Tottenham didn't do good business. We didn't lock down massive signings. You're right. We didn't get the big names, but it's always been known, and I know every team likes to say this, specifically Tottenham will spend next window, but it's literally like been backed by multiple sources that if Conte doesn't get the funds this summer, he's leaving. And the club can't afford that again. We can't do another manager crisis. So I think these signings are a step in the right direction. Youth, like players that have a little more potential but aren't necessarily raw. And I think it can lend to us having some improvements in some areas on the pitch. So I'm satisfied, but I'm not overjoyed.
Bryce, last question regarding Tottenham. What are your thoughts on Daniel Levy?
So I think he makes a lot of good business decisions when you take like the love of like your team doing good out of it. Like he is a very good businessman at the numbers and he does well for running the club if you look at it financially. But when you're such a passionate fan and you want to see, wins every Sunday and you're not putting the money, the team is making from the new stadium and all the revenue deals we're getting right into the team, it always hurts. And, Levy's had a bad reputation for years. I want to back him and I want to see him, change his ways, but who knows? We'll see this summer and I'll give you a different opinion then maybe. But right now I'm optimistic for the future.
And this is what I think, when I look at Tottenham, we all know Conte is a world-class manager. He's done it before in the Premier League. He's done it in Serie A. He's done it for the national team in Italy. He's turned around entire teams. And he's a great manager. So I think he knows the players he's looking to bring in. And the thing I like about Tottenham that I don't like about Arsenal is that you have players, Luis Diaz, everybody wanted him. United wanted him. Liverpool wanted him. Tottenham, Arsenal, all the big clubs. But when you look at that Brazilian center mid who goes to Newcastle over Arsenal, that's a questionable decision. And I know like Harry Forrest and I, we had the chance to go see Tottenham at Wembley when they were building the new stadium. And I think, it's a big deal. They couldn't invest while they were building a new stadium. It's not like the US where, our taxes pay for new stadiums, pay for ownership, which is ludicrous to me. But when I look at a Tottenham, I don't think they're not in the same state as an Arsenal. They have a world-class manager. Arsenal has a first-time manager. He's a club legend.
He's not.
Yeah, he's an Everton legend. And he's not a Gerrard. He's not a Lampard. You don't look at the best center mids to play in the last decade. You don't say Mikel Arteta.
He doesn't come within 100 fucking midfielders who have played that position.
Mikel Arteta looks good recently, though, to be honest. He looks like
more
a really
notable
good
at
manager
Arsenal.
the past,
The fact that Patrick Vieira isn't managing this club is an utter disgrace in my eyes.
Agreed.
Swing point.
I think
swing
Vieira,
point, boys. Swing point,
Vieira?
Parker. Hold on. Swing point of this. Let's swing this
Sorry.
right into the next
Sorry.
topic here. Yeah,
Arsenal
no
fan
worries.
TV.
Let's just swing this right in. Do legendary ex-players, as we're mentioning, some would say Mikel Arteta, not Graham here, an Arsenal fan himself, but we got Patrick.
Arsenal legend.
We got Patrick Vieira. We got Stevie G, Frank Lampard back at Everton now. Let's jump into this. Do we think these managers with their ex-careers and all the pull and notoriety they have around them, do you think they have the ability to pull in bigger name players than even some world-class managers in the Prem?
I think 100%.
Yes, because they played
Especially
with
if you look
some
at
of
Aston
them.
Villa.
I would like to hear Trey's opinion on this first. Go ahead, Trey. Then we'll go to Forrest next.
Shit. Oh shit, a call out. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking.
Agenda.
I did want to move out of the top 6, so we can talk about
Right.
Villa and look at the moves they made, getting Coutinho to come, an instant impact, and like all
Suarez linked.
Yeah, let me find this in the article. Yeah,
I did not
no
know
way.
Suarez.
Digne. These are big players that can instantly go out there and have an impact.
I would just say there's
And-
no way that Aston Villa's getting Coutinho unless it was Gerrard at the
Yeah, Gerrard.
at the
That's-
helm.
that's what I'm saying,
'cause
'cause they played with each other.
Played together. Yeah, they have the connection where they played with each other. He knows him well, and they want to learn from a great. So like, it
So
definitely.
do you-
that's
do you
my
think
point
some-
right there.
do you
Like,
think
learn
someone
from a
like-
great? Sorry, Bryce, but
Go
when
ahead,
I
Parker.
see, you see these players like Mikel Arteta is a great player. He had a long time Premier League career, but you don't see Zidane saying he's the greatest midfielder he ever played against, like a Gerrard. And when you have someone who has that kind of clout, that respect, and you see them saying, you want to learn from someone like that. And when you look at Rangers, what he did with Rangers, he turned around a club that was on the brink of disaster. Literally had gotten, due to financial reasons, relegated to the lowest division in Scotland, hadn't won a title in 10 years, turns it around. His record for Celtic was impeccable. He was beating them almost every single time. And I hate to say, like, Scottish League is a banter league. Like, there's 2 top dogs in there, and they're going to win it every year. But Celtic got denied from 10 in a row by Stevie G. And also that year, his record defensively was literally insane. They barely conceded. I think they almost went without a loss the entire season.
Remember those videos of like Gerrard showing up to the Rangers games and like this crowd's like just like loaded over
Yeah.
his car.
It sounds like a lot
love
of
him.
it sounds like
They
a lot of
loved him.
ex-legend love coming in. Are you saying that you think Stevie G is the next world-class manager, Parker? I
Yes.
hear you over here absolutely raving over his tactics on the daily.
Yes, literally, because I think not only has he had the experience to do it himself at the highest level and play against the greatest players, but also when you look at Stevie G and his track record that's developing, dude, he's on the ascension to the top. And we all know Klopp is expiring in 2024. He's talked about he's retiring. I think he'll be the next Germany manager, if not the chancellor of Germany. He has that pull. He has that love. They love this man. He's a great. Any player who's ever played with him loves him. I think Gerrard is going to be the natural next Liverpool manager, if not Pep Linders, who's our assistant manager, who I'd also love to take over the club.
Yeah, I think he'd do a good job.
He would. But I look at Gerrard and like, who wouldn't want to play for Steven George Gerrard?
Well,
Let's not talk about these
Liverpool, man.
crusty
You see-
managers like Gerrard and crusty old Lampard. We're
oh,
going to talk about a
okay.
real manager called Sean Dyche, who's been in the Prem since longer than any other manager in the whole entire league. So we have no
Voice like
idea-
gravel.
He's right.
Wait, is that an
no idea
actual
how impressive it is
Hey.
to keep Burnley
Yeah.
in the
That's a
Prem for
real
so long.
statistic.
Hey, Burnley's got a new big signing up top in Weghorst. It'll be
Yes.
interesting to see how he does.
Dude, I swear, Burnley just loves to shit on everybody's party. I swear, they're the biggest
Who's
troll
Burnley
club.
playing
They're
this
the
week?
toughest club in the league. They're
I
not
don't
maybe the
know.
best, but they're the toughest. They have no prima donnas on their team. They
Right.
don't have
And
any
you.
floppers.
Oh man.
They are tough. They know what to do. Weghorst.
They are.
He got fluked totally in that game against Watford. It should have
Agreed.
been a dub there.
What do you think
All
about
right,
honestly?
all right.
I got a question for Forrest. What do you think about this upcoming matchup against Manchester United for Burnley? Do you think they stand a chance?
Well,
I
there's
think
no
they
way
got
Burnley's
it.
Getting regulated, going back.
Relegated.
Regulated like crypto.
Relegated.
Yeah. Well, Yeah, we don't got to worry about that here in the U.S., but there's no way that's going to happen to Burnley. So I'm going to guarantee at least they're going to tie Man U, and that's going to be
Ooh, he's
A draw.
guaranteeing a tie.
I'm going for the tie. They got the
She goes-
Forrest
I'm-
on
Nick
this
Pope is a
one.
beast at goalie. He was
he is a
in
beast.
there in the rain
He is.
against Watford. That's what I'm calling there.
Man
So,
United
Forrest,
did
my
just
question
leave.
to you.
They just lost as well.
Yeah, Harry's right. They're on the bounce. You know, Man U's on the downslide. When I look at Burnley, and we've seen them play for years in the Premier League. Like you said, Sean Dyche is the longest tenured manager in the Premier League. That means a lot. He's like my football manager saves, where he brings the club through the ranks to the Premier League. And I think it's honestly shocking when you look at how
Their net
long
spin.
Burnley has been in the Premier League with the players they have.
Their
They
net
play with
spend.
dog shit players week in, week out. They had Robbie Brady looking like a fucking superstar a few years ago. And when I look at that, like, I think, how is he not linked to the top 6?
Right.
And I also wonder, you know, if they get relegated, is he going to leave or is he going to get a job in the Premier League? Because he deserves it. Like, I don't think there's a more deserving manager of a real job that gets investment besides Sean Dyche, because we've seen shithousery football for years. We've seen early bookings. We've seen setting the tone. And that is his motto. You set
What
the
about-
tone, you intimidate the other team,
Aggression.
and you get results that way. You know, yeah, like you said, Bryce, you grind out these 1-0s. That's
Nil-nil.
bread and butter for Sean Dyche.
0-0.
Win is a win.
I mean,
Yes.
Burnley. I mean, you talk about Dyke, but like Burnley's still shit. What about Graham Potter?
But yes, Brighton, but you look at the players on Brighton. You have Adam Lallana from Liverpool. You have Trossard. He's a great
Here's-
player. You have Mulpay. You have
Here's-
these great players.
yeah.
Yes, Bryce.
Here's the
They
thing I
all
think
came
you have to.
out
Here's the
of
thing you have to
nowhere.
appreciate. You have
They
to
all came out
appreciate
of
this.
nowhere.
You have to appreciate this about Burnley, okay? They have not changed their style of football. Managers come into the Prem and they get figured out week in and week out. There is times that Jose Mourinho at Tottenham literally got outclassed playing his same boring style of football that he's always played because people figure things out. The fact that Sean Dyche for 5-6 years now ongoing has come into the Prem, parked the bus, packed 2 people on ball and watched your runners, parked it back, set back, drop the line into the 18 box, and nobody has been able to fucking come up with a way to beat that is insane to me.
He's
He
like
deserves
a typical like
Exactly.
English 4-4-2 manager.
and,
that
and
just
to
runs
you,
the same
Parker,
formation
the reason
constantly.
he can never be deserving of a top 6 job is because if you bring him in, there's one expectation for his style of football. And if you bring that in, a club is going to, while they appreciate what he has done at Burnley, no club is going to get excited about the football he is going to bring. No matter what, he could
That's
have the
true.
best.
True.
He could have Real Madrid's roster under him, and nobody would be excited because they still think they would park it in 5 at the back and drop the line and play counter football.
It would.
Yeah.
And is it
No, I
just
love that you say that, Bryce, because, you know, when I think about his style of play, and Graham, definitely feel free to add,
Oh,
but
yeah.
no, like, you want exciting attacking football. And when you look at like a Big Sam, you look at a Tony Pulis, you know, they have great track records in the Premier League with these the lower table clubs, you know, avoiding relegation, which is the goal every season with Burnley. But the fact that he's at, you know, a top 10 finish, like, we don't see that. I mean, Big Sam has had great years. He was England manager until they
For like 12 hours.
pulled a scam on him. Like, they schemed on him. And like, he's definitely sketchy for like doing that. But like, you look at those, but I agree with you, Bryce. Like, it's the attractive attacking brand of football that you want to see with the Klopp, with the Conte, with,
Right.
you know, so many of the great managers in modern football. But Graham, yes, please feel free to add.
I was just gonna say, is it just me or is it like the only like interesting piece?
Damn.
RIP to Graham's connection, guys.
just fucking blew up.
So-
I'm sorry.
so-
I thought I just
shit.
disconnected.
We got
He's
him.
back.
shit.
We're back.
Welcome
Oh, you
back,
froze,
Graham.
Graham.
Man.
Throw that take.
Yeah, right
I was
back,
just gonna
right
say the only like intimidating piece Burnley has really is Dwight McNeil. If you ask me, that's it.
He is a great player. When I watch him play, though, he's so technical. The team doesn't match that. And you need
Right.
to match a play style. Because Forrest and I, we watched the Burnley game together yesterday. And Forrest is a massive Burnley fan. And Dwight McNeil, you know, he's constantly taking on players. He's very technical. He's going around players. But when you watch Weghorst, you watch Ashley Westwood. Westwood, he can't even pass the ball 10 yards. I'm shocked by what he's like. You watch Darwin McNeil, he receives, he does a step over, he takes on a player, and then all of a sudden, like, I feel like Cornet and I think Weghorst is going to be great. I know Chris Wood was a big player there, and he will be missed, but his shoes are being filled. Weghorst looked great yesterday, but when I see they need to get their the player has to fit the play style, and for McNeil, if they get relegated, someone's going to take him. But I don't know if he really is built for that team. Forrest, what do you think?
I think that he tends to hold the ball a lot longer than he probably should in the center, so he should play with that wing back where he could take people on without as much of a chance as like a double team coming for him. So he just got to take that and get the cross when he can. And Weghorst is always there in the middle now, and it'll be a lot better than it used to be. But they got to get the chemistry.
Exactly.
Let me get a one-word answer from everyone here.
One second. When I'm seeing McNeil in the middle, he's taking on, like Forrest said, he's taking on 2. He's taking on 3 players. On the wing, that's a one-on-one. That's what he lives for.
Yeah.
So not to say he's a winger, probably a center mid, but like on a team that's not technical, when you're paired with Ashley Westwood, like you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta pass the ball.
Yeah. Good player, just
Bryce,
in a bad predicament.
One word from everyone. Forrest first. Does Burnley stay above the jump?
Whoa.
What are they in right now?
Where are they at the moment?
Dead last. 12 points. 12 points, 3 off the jump.
16 goals against, 27.
Yeah. Forrest, no. Graham, is Burnley getting relegated?
Yes, Burnley is getting.
Yeah. Harry, Burnley going down?
Yeah.
Parker.
Yeah, Burnley's going down.
Oh. See,
I've got another question for after this one.
I'm going to come in with a controversial opinion on this first. I don't think Burnley gets relegated, and let's jump into the bottom 3 predictions. Yep, I was going to say I have Watford going down, Norwich, and Newcastle.
Oh, really?
Oh,
one second. Before we move to relegation, I think we missed out on one transfer that's very interesting. And it's Christian Eriksen coming back to the Premier League with Brentford.
I do love
after what happened with him and that was a really big situation. And to see him back, how do you guys really feel about that? I'm gonna go to Bryce with this one first, since he was an ex-Tottenham player. So Bryce, what are you thinking?
Controversial take here. As much as I love Christian Eriksen and have a lot of good memories towards him, even towards the end when he didn't want to be at the club, he came on a sub, scored a goal once. Just things that players you appreciate as a professional. It was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking to see that happen to him at the Euros last year. One of the scariest things you ever witnessed. Something that watching kind of reminds you of the humanity of the game sometimes.
Yeah.
And me loving the man for what he did for the team and having respect for him as a person and his accomplishments, it actually frightens me to see him play. There's a reason he can't play in Italy legally from the laws there with the pacemaker in his heart. And as much as I love to see him succeed and play, there's always that underlurking fear in the back of my mind, just wanting to see the well-being of the player first and foremost. So as much as it's exciting, and I love that he has all the Danish teammates with him, he has a lot. I think there's 8 or 9 Danish players on the Brentford roster that probably shared a lot of those experiences at the Euros with him too. I wish him nothing but the best, but I have a lot of
reservations.
That's a great word about watching it. It's always I'm going to be watching thinking the worst, and that's not a way to watch football. So I wish him the best, and I want to see him have success, but at the same time, it's at what risk is it willing? I'm sure he's healthy enough to play. He would never take that risk with the family and the way it impacted his family. You saw his wife there at the Euros. He would not be doing this unless it was 100% safe. So I wish him all the best and great success at Brentford, but at the same time, there's always going to be that lurking fear, and I wish I could get rid of that.
And when I look back, he's not the first soccer player to go into cardiac arrest mid-game. And when you're running, 8 to 10 miles a match, who knows how many physicals he's done? Every time you go to a new club, you have to do a physical. There was Ajax to Tottenham. I wanted Eriksen bad at Liverpool, just like I wanted Sigurdsson bad. when he was going from Swan. He chose like Everton over us. It's like, what are you doing? But when you look at that, like Bryce said, it is a real fear where, like you're scared to see him on the pitch, but at the same time, he's a frightening player. And with Ivan Toney, we might like Brentford is locked in. Yeah, Trey, no, he's a big Ivan Toney fan, and
Tony's a dog.
he is.
Fantasy team.
Yeah, Harry's right. FPL, get Toney, but
I don't know what that was, but that did not come through very clear.
Tony said, "Fuck Brentford."
You're speaking a little too loud. That's what it is. But yeah.
Arsenal wanted Toney real bad and could not get him.
Can't pull a striker like that.
Yeah,
y'all didn't
Arsenal
see that.
can't pull a player, but that's another day's topic.
Did you guys not see that video with the girl coming? He was in Dubai, and the girl like was doing like a selfie video, and she said, "Fuck Brentford." And Ivan Toney was like, "Yeah, fuck Brentford."
Oh,
How
I did
you
see
guys
that.
not-
I did see that video.
How did you not see that?
I have seen that video. He was just
Even
he
then-
say fuck Brentford.
But Bryce and Graham, he still won't go to Arsenal. He's not
That's
going to
bad.
that trash club.
We're trying to get.
He'd choose a Newcastle over an Arsenal, just like any reasonable man.
Who
Um,
wouldn't take the money? Like,
That's all you have to offer. And Newcastle can match it these days.
we're going
And
over.
Newcastle-
We're
at least
going
with
after
Newcastle-
Calvert Lewin.
Okay, you can have him. At least with Newcastle, there's a project to say, hey, this is the direction we're going in. This is what we want to do long term.
Yeah, my
With
question actually was
Eriksen-
gonna. Sorry, you go.
Yeah,
Chris.
Harry. I was gonna say with Ericsson, I'm afraid of the link up that'll happen there. But at the same time, like Bryce said, I'm worried about seeing him week out. Like Gian Asamoah, we saw him collapse in Serie A years ago. Could never play again. So we see he's not the first one, and I know he's done so many physicals. But when you have a heart condition, you have a heart condition, and it'll flare up at the least time you expect it. So, yeah, Harry, please.
We're wishing him the best.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you think Newcastle are gonna get relegated or not?
No.
No.
Even though they spent all this
Absolutely not.
money, you don't think they will?
There's a 0%
No.
chance Newcastle gets relegated this season.
Yeah, I agree with Graham. And the real question is, if they don't, because they are in the bottom three, who gets relegated over them? And I know we talked about Burnley and how Forest guaranteed Burnley's survival. And I think Burnley are going to fight tooth and nail, but I don't know if they have it in them. But who are each one of us? Come on. Let's hear our bottom three. Let's hear our relegation. Each one of us. Come on.
All right,
Dude,
I think.
You go first, Harry. I'll let you.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
go ahead,
thinking.
Harry.
I'm gonna say Burnley are gonna go 20th, Norwich are gonna go 19th, and Watford are gonna go 18th.
Yeah.
I have
Hmm.
Norwich and Watford are definitely there. They are two teams that look like they lack a personality. No, there's no football being played out there. A lot of the times it looks like you have 11 players that don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Burnley though, I'm with Forrest. I think Sean Dyche does his magic again, works the park the bus, and I have them staying up. And I
Do you
think,
think Burnley's gonna escape it? They're the
I
bottom
think
of the bottom.
They do have two games in hand, though.
I
Two games in
truthfully,
hand.
I
Okay.
truthfully believe Newcastle is about to write a new page in the script next year when they have to come back from the championship with that new buyout.
If they did go down with that squad, they would win every single game of the season.
I know they would.
Yeah.
They would run a new record in the championship, and they'll come back stronger than ever. And I truthfully believe that's a story
They don't
ready
even
to be
need that
written.
extra money from the championship.
I've got the table up in front of me now. I'm thinking Norwich with that negative 32 goal difference isn't looking too safe at 17. That's 45 goals conceded this season. That's more than everyone. That's not good. And 13 goals scored. Yeah, they probably aren't staying up unless Sargent can.
I was about to say, but Josh
Unless
Sargent.
Sargent turns into Captain America and fucking brings them out of that.
He might.
He will.
Well, that's very possible.
You know what?
I think they're going down.
I think I'm gonna give it. I think Burnley finishes in last, and then I think Watford second to last. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say
Watford
Watford
last.
Watford last, Burnley second to last, and then I think I might give it to Leeds third to last.
The sneaky one. I'm looking.
I might do it. They suck.
Leeds.
They are horrible,
They
bro.
got a negative 16 goal difference as well.
Yeah, they're
down
trash.
with the worst.
effect.
They're down with the
Damn.
worst.
Bro,
But
if,
Everton,
I
though.
like
Everton-
Burnley
if
actually
Arsenal
makes
beats you 5-0, you know you're trash. You know you're trash.
But looking at Burnley right now, and they've only got a negative 11 goal difference, 2 games in hand. Mentioned before, they are a very sneaky pick to make it out of this top.
The 1-0s.
Bottom 3.
Forest.
I agree. I agree with Trey. When I look at the bottom 3, I think Watford. We'll see you later. Maybe we'll see you tomorrow. Maybe the next day. Maybe a few years from now. Or maybe they'll just fade into oblivion. But yeah, we won't see you next year.
We'll see Norwich in.
Wait, Parker, are you kidding? Parker, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
If Watford goes down, we're seeing them next year. That's Watford, bro.
I mean, Sar's gone.
2 years.
I'm shocked Sar played in the championship all of last year.
Right.
Troy Deeney, is he still on the team? Like, we don't know what happened to you.
Right.
Like Sissoko
He was transferred out.
Yeah, he's probably playing in EFL somewhere, like probably League One, where he belongs. And then we see I don't know, we see Musa Sissoko. You're gone. You're not gonna stay. You're gonna go to France or something. You're not gonna be back in the Prem unless you go to a Norwich. But we'll see you later. So we know Watford's gone. But I look at Norwich, and while I like the team, I think they have a chance. And
You like Norwich, or you like them staying up, Graham?
I like Norwich.
You know what? I'm more so leaning towards I like Norwich. I don't see them staying up as much as I would like. I kind of want them to over than reality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I love I agree with Graham where I love their play style. I think they're very expansive, very attacking. I think they offer a lot. Like watching them is fun. Well, that's why their goal difference is tragic.
They're constantly trying for goals, and then they just concede.
Great fan base. If
great fan base.
Yeah. I'd like
to
Sargent.
We can't not love him.
American love. I'd like to tie this into Forrest here. Forrest is here claiming the survival of his beloved team Burnley here. Who's staying who's dropping down? Who's the 3 teams below him if they're staying?
Well,
yes, please.
I definitely have to go with Leeds and
Leeds.
That's what I was saying
at
myself.
Everton right now, and they're not looking too safe.
How far off the jump is Leeds right now? Because Leeds has not been playing good
football.
football.
That's what I was going to about to say.
Leeds is about 6 points clear.
Go down.
Yeah, 6 points.
Leeds is currently
Leeds
6
are
points.
safe. I think Leeds are safe.
No, 7 points clear of relegation.
2 in hand.
You see Burnley and Everton.
Give him his chance. Let's hear it for us.
Goal difference.
No, I don't see Leeds falling as impossible. Bielsa, as much as people love to rock with Bielsa and say he plays, interesting football because it'll be a 4-4 game sometimes. His team is terrible defensively, and a lot of the times their attacking prowess is missing too because they don't have that world class player. They have a good system. Bamford's pretty good, whatnot, but they don't have that talisman. Rafinha, they thought he could be that, but he's just a mover of the ball. He's a Lucas Moura 2.0. He can dribble it down the field a few yards.
Yeah, they're just like a Norwich, where if they're not getting you 3 a game, you're probably losing. But Forrest, please. We heard Leeds. We heard Watford. What is your third?
Norwich.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Norwich.
That goal difference is bad, man.
I think we've all agreed that Norwich is going down.
We're praying for them
no matter what.
We may have noticed. We have a. Go ahead, Graham, if you want to finish this thought first.
Speaking of Rafinha, is that still someone that's in Liverpool's minds for a transfer?
I don't think so.
Well, relegation clause. We'll take him for 10 mil. But yeah, if you're gonna charge us out the ass, hell no. We already got Diaz. I think that Mane replacement was maybe Rafinha's. I know, we know Salah is going into these transfer talks or contract talks. So, we don't know what's gonna come of there. But I think
Salah already has a competition in Harvey Elliott, who's just coming back.
I like Harvey. Harvey's
Harvey.
Yeah, he's Salah's Luis Diaz and Salah's Jota.
I do love Harvey, and I think that with bringing in Jota and bringing in Diaz, I think there's now the pressure to say, if you leave, we'll be okay. We'll live, we'll survive. Yeah. But I also think fans will gather outside Anfield and tear down the stadium if Salah doesn't get a contract extension. Because when I look at his wages and what the wage structure, to be fair, what he's requesting, the $450 a week, will ruin our wage structure because our highest paid player right now is Van Dijk at $250, if I'm not mistaken. So he wants to double the highest paid player. But when you look at United, he's middle of the squad. And he's he's one of the best in the world.
He's top 5.
And yeah, so when you look at a United, when you look at these clubs that are overpaying these bums, you say, why don't I make that money? And we all experience that in our professional lives. You look at someone who's a fucking bum and we're saying, how does he make that money? How does she make that money? It doesn't make sense to me. So when you look at that, you say, I could go somewhere and get double, triple the wages. It's true. And we've all
you can argue with what Salah's demanding. He's
exactly.
Would you say anyone deserves that money over him in the Premier League? Like he is the best.
No, and I hate Mohamed Salah. This is a great transition point.
Hang
on. Yeah, go ahead, Bryce.
I hate him because he's good. As bad as that is, you just hate people that succeed against you sometimes.
Like Tom Brady.
But this is a great transition period.
So nice.
This is a great transition period into our last topic here. We touched on it a little, but as y'all can see, we have no Man U supporters in the team, but a team clearly in turmoil right now. We touched on the wage structure a bit. We have a few bad PR presses from some players we won't mention today, but we know what's going on there. There's obviously an identity lacked on the pitch, interim manager in again for the second time. So let's get your thoughts on that. A club in turmoil. Does anybody think they finish top 4 first? And second, possible potential managers. And we'll touch on this at the end, but Ronaldo contract running out. Where do we want to see him next? Let's go.
Yeah, I'll kick us off here. I know, Graham, I see you got your finger up, and I know you're jumping to next. But no, I think when I think about United, I think they deal with a lot of the same struggles as Arsenal and Tottenham with, devaluing their own assets, bringing in these players on these absorbent wages. Like Juan Mata still plays for United. Like how insane is that? We don't see him ever, but he's also a great footballer. But when you look, as I saw that, you see Juan Mata's making $350 a week. You're like, what? I want to make $450 a week. Like, that's crazy. He doesn't even see the field.
That money.
Yeah.
And there's so many other examples at the club. So when I see that, I don't know where they'll go. And I think they've been in an identity crisis since Ferguson left, which like you lose the best manager ever to play or ever to manage. So like it's natural. But at the same time, the Glazers do not help the case. I think, they don't get top 4. I think Ronaldo leaves. My question is, does he chase another Champions League or does he go to like a DC United like we want him to just cash out and live out the rest of his days? But Graham, please.
No, I'm just going to say, I think Manchester United, I think they're in their own heads. And I think the fact that Arsenal, for example, has a bunch of youthful players, I think that would prevail over them being inside of their own heads. And like, when Arsenal lost to Manchester United, it wasn't even like that. It was like we were at Old Trafford and we scored 2 of like some great goals. And like one of them was just right off the bat of what they scored. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're light years ahead of Arsenal or Tottenham or anybody in terms of that matter. So I don't know. I don't think they're clear to get 4th or anything like that.
I'm pretty sure they'll go for a new manager in the summer though.
Yeah.
As someone who's in direct contact with a Manchester United supporter, like every other weekend,
right?
I would say they are not very happy with what's his name again? I can't remember.
Redneck.
Yeah. He wants to be Klopp's inspiration so badly, but he's not.
He wants to be Klopp and Nagelsmann's fucking saviors. I don't know.
He's just clout chasing. We'll see you later.
Shit.
I don't know if they'll be able to get Zidane though. Like, why would Zidane want to go to United?
Yeah, I don't. That's not a thing.
I was gonna say, if I jump in on this discussion for the 4th place spot, I'm looking at Man U, West Ham, and Arsenal, and I'm really not seeing much.
Whoa, wait, where's Tottenham in that?
Honestly, I mean, Tottenham
looks kind of crazy.
No, Tottenham, you guys aren't even with those.
What are you talking about? We have more games in hand.
The points are there. I understand.
No, they have
games in hand.
You got a game in hand. You got 2 games in hand.
To be honest, in terms of like the games in hand, I think
Tottenham is a sneaky 4th with the 3 games in hand. Actually, I did not notice that.
I was
looking at those 4 through 6, and I like West Ham, but then I see Tottenham down there with 2 games in hand.
Thank you.
And
I would also,
as an Arsenal fan, Tottenham is the team to fear for getting.
I would actually be real, as much as I hate Arsenal myself, the only team I'm caring about in this top 4 race right now is Arsenal as well. I really am not. West Ham is so far like they're dropping points week in, week out. Conte, recently his football has looked good. I was almost disrespected. Thank you for pointing that out, Trey. I was about to tell you, you're looking at the wrong table if Tottenham's not including your top 4, because right now they're the highest percent to finish there.
It's literally if Arsenal loses to Wolves on Thursday, that's who you got to worry about.
Yeah,
there's also a postponed North London derby in one of those games in hand. That was postponed because Arsenal can field like 11 players because their club's in turmoil.
What happened last time we saw the Blues? Because I feel like London's looking a little blue these days.
I'm not gonna lie. If there's a team that I willingly refuse to watch us play right now, it's Chelsea, because I already know the result and it pisses me off, and I'll admit that.
Yeah, my dad's a top.
He's realistic.
So I like those games. It's fine. You guys are working on it.
So we'll transition into the last section here. Anybody got a lock on a game they think you can't miss on a bet this week?
Yes.
Yeah,
I got a few. And we'll be tracking these all season, so feel free to follow our logs. Feel free to criticize our logs. Feel free to add. But I think, Everton new manager bounce on a great money line. I think it's plus 175 to beat Newcastle. That's just obvious. And we saw them perform at the weekend with the new players. Of course, they're going to assimilate the new guys like Dele Alli. We probably won't see him this week. Maybe we'll see him off the bench. But I think Everton's just an obvious lock. So smash that money line, in my opinion.
Why is it obvious? We have Bruno.
New manager bounce, and you're playing Newcastle. I mean, Newcastle, not to say they haven't added, Trippier, Ashley Wood, Arsenal's target of the whole window. But
hey, that was Vlahovic, for your information, you son of a bitch.
And he fell hella flat. He didn't even come to the Premier League. He stayed at home.
No. Dude, but I think it was just a thing where he's like, okay, what's his name? Manuel Pellegrini. Yeah. Oh, look what he did with Ronaldo when he was 35, 36 years old, and I'm a 21-year-old striker. Like, look what I can do. I think that's what it came down to.
I mean, you can go to Juve, like Higuain, and you can bag 20, 30 season in the Farmers League. I mean, that's what it is to me. Just like Serie A is the same as League One. Like, you can go poop on all the shit clubs there.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you want to get some real clout, come to the Premier League.
Right.
In my opinion.
We're shitting on all the other leagues. I'm just thinking back earlier in the podcast when he called the Scottish Premier League dog shit. We're gonna have Scottish Twitter just coming at us heavy. They're not gonna fuck with us already. Offer it,
like,
but
you want some?
I'm
gonna get a little bit on
be so mad.
here.
Obviously, we have a talking point of the Premier League here. I'm curious to hear everyone's opinion real quick. If I can get a 1-second blurt from anyone, what is the second best league in the world behind the Prem?
La Liga.
Bundesliga.
La Liga.
It's La Liga.
You know what I'm actually willing to shout out as one of the more competitive leagues, maybe not the best, but the second most that I'd be willing to watch? The Dutch League. I think it has very good competition.
I think you should sit
Great
down.
young players.
I would say La Liga and then Bundesliga.
Okay.
Go La Liga and Bundesliga as well, and this just made me think of a transfer I saw in this Guardian article we've been looking. What do we think about Hwang Hee-chan to Wolves? That's a pacey Japanese.
Well, he's been there all season. He's been on a loan. We've seen him produce all season already. He's been there.
We'll just see it as a key in.
Yeah, it's now permanent. It's now permanent. You're good. He adds something different because, Raul Jimenez really produces one type of game. He's a very through and through, like, number 9. If you want to look at it, he plays very similar to Benzema in his hold-up play. He doesn't have as much finesse and finishing ability, world-classness, but he kind of rivals his game after Lewandowski at Benzema. And when you put Hwang Hee-chan on, he doesn't work well in that single striker role, but I've seen when he plays with Jimenez as the false 9, allowing Jimenez to drop back and him to get through the lines, it has some success. So I'm a bit excited to see that, especially from the FIFA fanboy perspective of Hwang Hee-chan being OP for the last 2 years, even though you didn't know about him. I'm excited to see it. He's put in some performances, especially in the FA Cup. I've actually seen it in things that wasn't the Prem this year. Hwang Hee-chan has really shown me that he can add something to Wolves. So maybe another South Korean star in the league. We love to see it. A little more Asian representation.
So what?
When I look at a Ruben Neves behind those and a João Moutinho, that's a great pairing. It's not like Burnley where you're running Dwight McNeil and Ashley Westwood.
You got two holding mids block to block. You have some creativity in your park. I understand. You want to see Wolves.
They can do it all.
Wolves is a team you like to see succeed.
Yeah, we're big fans of
just
Jimenez. He said
so what are we
very
seeing?
Inconsistent.
What are we seeing as the game of the week? The regular week, I should say, is that the Arsenal Wolves match. The Leicester. Who did they play? Liverpool.
Leicester, I think, will be pretty rough for Leicester.
And that's
especially because they.
I don't know.
As I'm speaking today, Leicester just lost 4-1 to Nottingham Forest in the FA.
Exactly. Hey, I have big thoughts here.
Liverpool's got a full fit team as well.
I agree with Harry. I have big thoughts here. I think Brendan Rodgers is the most overrated manager in world football.
Me too. I
think
agree.
Every single time, and his track record proves it, at Liverpool, at Leicester, he's about to get title. You fuck it up. You're about to get top 4. You fuck it up. You fucked it up years in a row. You won the FA Cup last year. It's a great accomplishment. But, dude, come on now. Premier League or Champions League football is worth 10 times what the FA Cup is worth. So,
yeah.
I do agree, he's a good manager, but he's the most overrated manager. And one thing I've seen with him and his style, you'll see this. He wears out his teams. He did it at Celtic. He did it at Liverpool, where he's good for the first 2 or 3 years, but he's a dick. The way he treated Sterling in that Liverpool interview years ago, you have to manage egos. That's a big part of football. Yeah. If I'm a baller, and I'm not a baller, but if I'm a fucking baller, you got to treat me like a baller. Right. And I think he is the most overrated manager in world football. I know he's heavily linked to Arsenal. I could see him getting the Man U job.
He's more overrated than Arteta.
We're not going back to Arteta. Let's get on top.
Yeah, we're done with Arteta.
So I think Liverpool spread heavy, but I want to get into my picks a little bit. I like Arsenal this week against Wolves. I think they're a sneaky win. They could get that at home. That's ideal. They play well at home. The fans will be there. I like the Everton pick as well, but that's a little scary if you can get a pick 'em maybe. Not bad. But I also like Villa at Leeds. That's a lean. Villa at Leeds money line.
Okay.
You hear that, folks? We got Villa, we got Arsenal, and we got Everton this week.
Trey, what is the Villa money line against Leeds?
I have to pull up the chat real quick.
Get him a live feed real quick. And while Trey is looking up that, we'd like to thank you all for tuning in today. It's been a great time sharing our thoughts. This is episode 1. It's obviously a work in progress. We're working on things. We're eventually going to have our socials in the description, so feel free to follow those. That might be a work in progress, might not be episode 1. We got a lot of ideas. Feel free to shout them in the comments. We'd love to talk about a lot of things our viewers, are interested in too. Thank you for tuning in with us today, and we wish you nothing but the best. We hope to see you on episode 2. Trey, you got that line?
Thank you all.
1, 2,
thank you.
See you later.
Thank you, everyone.
And tune in next week.
Set the tone.
The early booking, don't forget it.